WHES Channel 29 presents Group AAA Eastern Regional Boys Playoff Basketball Game. The Hampton Crabbers visiting the Green Run Stallions. Good evening, everybody. I'm Tim Cole along with Bob Hintz, and we are here at Frank W. Cox Fieldhouse in Virginia Beach for the game between the Crabbers of Hampton, 21-3, and the Stallions of Green Run, undefeated at 22-0. And Bob, on paper, this looks like a real good ball game. Hampton's lost 3 times, but I have to wonder the caliber of the opponents the Green Run has played this year.
I have talked to numerous people who don't believe the Green Run, even though they're undefeated, has played the type of caliber of teams that Hampton has. Hampton is a very aggressive team, as we've known, as we've followed throughout the year, and I don't know that they can put up with the Green Run to put up with the type of pressure that Hampton's going to put on them. Now, I've heard that they've got a very weak bench. They can only go maybe 6-7 men at the most, and that their center is suspect. I don't know. They're a pretty big-looking group out here. Tim, what we have a second before we announce the starters and all, I'd like to offer our condolences out to Coach Walter Brower. One of his grandparents passed away last Friday, and he's been out of town attending the funeral and everything, and we'd like to send along our sympathy and condolences to Coach Walter Brower.
And we're going to have at this time the presentation of the colors and the playing of our national anthem. The playing of our national anthem. The officials for tonight's game, Jim Downey from the Peninsula and Conrad Parker from the Southeastern District. And we're going to have the introductions of the starting lineups. The Hampton Crabbers will be the visitors, and they'll be introduced. Ronnie Blackman, number 32 for the Crabbers, is the first introduction. Kenny Johnson, 6'3", from Green Run. Number 42, John Scott for the Hampton Crabbers, 6'5". He's a senior.
And he's one young man they're going to have to get into the scoring column tonight.
Eric Wesley, 6'4" forward. Baruch Harris, number 52 for the Hampton Crabbers, 6'3" senior. Scott Heidler, number 44, 6'8" center for the Green Run Stallions. Paul Blackman, one of the guards for the Hampton Crabbers. O.J. Hyman's are the guard position for Green Run. And number 20, Kevin Swan for the Hampton Crabbers. And Steve Hamilton, number 20 for Green Run, is the 5th player for the Green Run Stallions. They're coached by Bill Cochran. And of course, the Hampton Crabbers are coached by Walter Brower. Well, Bob, I'm really looking forward to this game. The big talk in the media is Green Run looking past the Hampton Crabbers to a hopeful confrontation with Alonzo Mourning and the Indian River team on Friday night.
Well, we had a guy come up and ask us if we were going to cover the Indian River Green Run game, which means he's already figured they're looking past Hampton, and that may be in Hampton's favor, but I think Hampton is a much better team all around. They got better scores, they got a bigger bench, they got a deeper bench, and these young men out there, they come out to play.
We are just about set to go. Hampton, of course, as the visitors, will be in the red uniforms. Green Run, the white uniforms with the green trim. Jumping center would be Heidler, 6'8", against John Scott, 6'5". Scott skies. The ball is controlled, however, by Green Run. Baseline jumper is good.
I don't know if that pass was to him or not, but he ended up with it. It looked like to me that the pass was going to number 44, Scott Heidler, but it didn't get to him.
Baseline jumper is too long, and Green Run brings it down. Two to nothing, Green Run. This is Scott Hamilton. Check that, Steve Hamilton, guarded by Blackman. He shoots, and we've got a foul called against Hampton.
We got a little disadvantage in this game, Tim. We got the cheerleader standing right there beside you. You got a pretty view, but you're not going to get to see all the action.
We may have to ask them if they can possibly move down or something, because we're just not going to be able to see the game. At the free throw line, Steve Hamilton shooting 2. Converts both of the free throws. So the Crabbers find themselves trailing 4 to nothing.
It looks like they're in a zone. It's a matchup zone.
Kevin Swan from downtown. He's got a three-pointer.
Well, that was just a two-shooter. Evidently his foot was on the line.
Well, one referee signaled a three-point play. I'd be curious to find. There it is. It has been registered.
Yeah, it is on the scoreboard, Tim.
All right, Crabbers trailing by a point. Good feed inside. Goes to Scott Heidler, and it's 6-3. Player control foul. Ronnie Blackman, who had 8 points in the Crabber victory Friday night over Warwick, called for his first personal. Check that the other way around. Kenny Johnson called for the personal foul. Good play down the court.
That's lazy passing. You can't do that against the zone. You can't throw lazy passes, Tim.
8-3 Green Run. Inside for Harris. It's knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Green Run.
Looks like that the Hampton Crabbers are a little tight right now. They're having trouble hanging on to the ball.
They were tight against Warwick Friday night until they got untracked. Kevin Swan for a three-point try. Doesn't go. John Scott kicks it out to Ronnie Blackman. He'll put it up. No good. Chased down by Swan. You and I mentioned it. John Scott has to get in the offense. Bad shot by Paul Blackman, and it's controlled by the Stallions. Crabbers trying for the three-point play on 2 of the 3 shots that time. Came up dry. They trail 8-3. Kenny Johnson averaging over 16 points a game. Coughs it up. Drive the lane, put it up, yes. Eric Wesley with his first bucket, and it's 10-3 Green Run. Crabbers trailing early, 10-3. Pretty much a full house here at Cox High School. Kevin Swan's shot doesn't go. Kick it out, and a foul should be charged on number 42, Eric Wesley of Green Run.
Kevin gets that shot off so fast, it's hard to block that shot, but Hampton is just not into the flow yet. Once they get into the flow, you're going to see some baskets being made and some pressure being applied full court.
Blackman will fire from 3. It doesn't go. Baruch Harris, and a traveling call against Green Run as 2 Green Run players tied each other up for the rebound.
Well, Hampton's getting a lot of offensive rebounds, a lot of chances.
Inside it goes, John Scott.
That's what they needed to do. We talked about that last Friday night. That's the young man you want to get the ball to because he's a good scorer for Hampton.
And we've got a blocking foul on Aaron Johnson. Again, judgment call. That is the toughest call. It looked like Johnson had pretty good position. It looked like the player for Green Run put his elbow out in his face.
Yeah, I thought he did too, but that's a
again,
judgment call.
That's a judgment call. It's one of those really tough calls to make. Kevin Swan guarding in the backcourt against Kenny Johnson. Johnson, as I said, averaging more than 16 points a game to lead the Stallions. This is O.J. Hymans in the corner. Eric Wesley guarded by Baruch Harris. Kick it out for the big man, Heidler. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What a terrible call. John Scott got all the ball, but they've called him for the personal foul. Looked like he had a clean steal.
It looked good to me.
Nonetheless, the foul is charged to the Crabbers. They trail 10-5. 4:22 left here in the first quarter. Steve Hamilton rather sets it up. Kenny Johnson guarded by Swan. Drive the baseline, put it up, no good. Rebound comes out.
Did that hit something that I missed? But that's an illegal play. You can't shoot the ball, get your own rebound without it hitting something.
Scott
That's a travel.
12-5 Green Run. Aaron Johnson in the ball game now. Cedric Williams for the Crabbers. Swan to Johnson. Johnson will put it up, doesn't go. Baruch Harris has it, puts it on the floor. The ball is loose and chased down by Kevin Swan.
That zone is really bothering them. They got to work it around and get it inside.
Green Run is a tall team. Cedric Williams to Swan, baseline for Scott. Scott has it knocked away cleanly, and then Scott is called for the personal foul.
Touch foul.
That's the second on Scott, something they cannot afford to have happen.
We'll see Eric Hunter coming in right now.
So unlike the officiating on the peninsula where anything short of mayhem is allowed, we've seen some early touch fouls called here. And of course, if the officials call it that way throughout the game consistently, then the coaches will have to adjust accordingly. Johnson loses his man. Baseline 10-footer. Yes! Well, I tell you, talk about a roll. Eric Wesley had that ball on the rim for seemingly a long period of time before it finally dropped in.
Well, it went down, come out, went back down again.
And we've got a foul inside. This one's on Hunter. So the Crabbers very quickly picking up fouls, and now with more than 2.5 minutes to go in the first quarter, the Crabbers have gotten themselves in some trouble here. Green Run's on the bonus. At the free throw line will be big Scott Heidler, number 44, 6'8". Heidler will get the bonus. 15-5. Green Run up by 10, and Hampton is in foul trouble. John Scott on the bench with 2 already here in the first quarter. Heidler gets the roll both times. 16-5. Green Run undefeated. Aaron Johnson for Swan, in for Eric Hunter, yes.
That's what you got to do, is move the ball quick, get it inside to your big men.
Hunter banging pretty good with Heidler right in front of our broadcast position. Kenny Johnson drives the baseline, comes up short. Swan steals the rebound. Aaron Johnson crosses the timeline, spots Baruch Harris on the baseline, 10-footer, no good. Eric Hunter with the rebound and kicks it out for Kevin Swan. This is Johnson. And we've got a foul inside. And another foul against the Crabbers. This one on Baruch Harris. That's his first.
Well, Johnson is having a horrendous night shooting the ball. I don't know how many times he's shot, but he has yet to hit one. And he's the open man on that 15, 18-footer.
Crabbers finding themselves down by 9 with 2:02 to go in the first quarter. Swan with the rebound. Johnson had 10 points against Warwick the other night. Eric Hunter, give it to Swan, 3-point try, no. So the Crabbers have found the shooting cold here in the first quarter. They have had little or no success from the field. Steve Hamilton, guarded by Johnson, finds his teammate inside. This is Johnson. Check that.
It's an excellent move.
18-7. Swan, Aaron Johnson fakes. Hunter, terrible pass for Swan. Aaron Monday will come in the ball game and give Baruch Harris a blow. So the Crabbers going to the bench extremely early. They've only got 2 of their original 5 starters in the lineup right now. That's Kevin Swan and Aaron Johnson for the Crabbers. Green Run has yet to make a substitution. Baseline all alone. You can't have that happen.
Some horrendous picks going on underneath that basket. They wide open.
Steve Hamilton was wide open.
They're playing a lot better than what I thought they would, but Hampton is playing not at all up to the caliber of team we've seen this year. It's early.
Hampton is early in the game, and they've dug themselves a hole. Williams is hammered after he lets it go. No call, and the basket, of course, doesn't go. Johnson picks up Hamilton. 30 seconds to go in the quarter. A 13-point lead for Green Run.
Looks like they're going to wait for the last shot, Tim. 20 seconds to count.
Scoreboards on the sides here at Green Run. Swan guards against Kenny Johnson. 11 seconds. Now the Green Run team goes into the play. Dish it off to Heidler. Good block inside. Johnson follows, doesn't go. And time runs out. At the buzzer, the shot is no good. But the Crabbers have found themselves on the short end of a 20-7 score after 8 minutes of play.
Well, Tim, number one, we have seen Hampton shoot from the outside and be very, very successful. Kevin Swan hit his first shot, which may have been bad. You hope you miss your first one, then you get into a rhythm. But I don't know how many shots that Aaron Johnson's taking is not hitting. They're just not getting the ball in the basket. They're not taking that bad of shots, although I do think they need to go inside and put some pressure on those big men, get some fouls called against Green Run. Hampton's already got Green Run in the bonus, and they're not in the bonus yet. I don't think there's been maybe 1 or 2 fouls called against them. But we know that they have a very shallow bench, so you got to put some pressure on them, get some fouls, and maybe make they go to the bench. But Hampton's going to have to start doing something offensively.
First quarter scoring, Kevin Swan with 1 3-point play. 2 points for Scott and Hunter to round out the 7-point total for the Crabbers. Hamilton had 6 points, as did Heidler and Wesley for Green Run, and 2 points for Kenny Johnson.
That zone seems to really be bothering Hampton.
Aaron Monday fires up an errant shot. And again, the Crabbers start the second quarter with just 2 of their starters in the lineup. This is Williams guarding against Hymans. Kenny Johnson drives on Swan. It doesn't go. Eric Hunter gets the board. Aaron Johnson yet to score, but stone cold. Williams will shoot for 3 and gets.
That gets you back in the game quick, but you can't live for that. Can't live by the three-pointer.
Swan knocks it away, but can't get it. O.J. Hymans will pump it up. Yes. Hymans with his first basket of the game. Walter Brower yelling instructions to Aaron Johnson. He crosses the timeline. 22-10. Johnson will fire again. No good. Gets his own rebound. Fakes. Puts it up. It's blocked. Eric Hunter follows. Yes. Eric Hunter with 2 baskets. Crabbers down by 10. 22-12. As John Scott will get ready to check back in for the Crabbers. Baseline. On the baseline is the foot of the Green Run player, Eric Wesley, and the ball will turn over to the Crabbers. John Scott will give Aaron Monday, check that, we're going to have to wait for the official to touch the ball. Monday comes out, Scott comes in. I'm sure Walter Brower told John Scott during that timeout that first of all he has to avoid further foul trouble, and secondly he has to get involved in the offense.
That's right. He definitely's got to get involved in the offense.
Kevin Swan has it knocked away from behind. He chases it down. Cedric Williams finds Johnson alone. Throw the baseline to Scott. No good. And Scott hammered after he went up for the rebound. But a 2-on-3. Good move. My gracious, what a nice move. Tip no good. And the Crabbers had it and lost it. That was not that official's call. Jim Downey called that play, and he was not able to see who actually touched the ball last for the Crabbers. I'm surprised that Conrad Parker, the official in the correct position, didn't overrule him.
Well, you got 2 officials from two different districts, Tim, and I used to working together, but that was definitely Jim Downey could not see who had knocked that ball out. That was Conrad Parker's call, and he did not offer to give him any assistance.
So maybe it was a good call. It just didn't look like it was his call to make.
No.
I was surprised he didn't. As we saw last week in the championship game, Pat Patrick and I'm sorry, the other gentleman's name that was officiating the name.
That was Ron Fowler.
Fowler. They communicated. They a couple of times there was a situation where one or the other of them was screened out or blocked out, and they asked the other official. The officials aren't
infallible.
Infallible. You know, they're going to make mistakes. In fact, one of the more interesting comments that Pat Patrick had while we had him during the girls' game with us was we were talking about a particular call. He says, "Hey, we blew that one." You know.
And they will, and he's not afraid to admit, but you'd be surprised some of these officials hate to admit that they blow a call. But anyway.
Nonetheless, 5:54 left in the half here. The Crabbers have scored 5 to Green Run's 2 in this quarter. Swan has his back climbed by Hymans, no call. Ronnie Blackman guarding against Steve Hamilton. Now Johnson is picked up by Cedric Williams. Green Run moves the ball around nicely.
They're getting that ball inside against this Hampton man-to-man. Just something fierce. Every shot they're taking is a good shot. Very close. Where Hampton seems to be struggling getting that ball inside.
Blackman has it knocked away. Kevin Swan had it momentarily, and finally it's controlled by O.J. Hymans. 24-12. Green Run has doubled the score on the Crabbers. Hunter Nice move.
You can't let the man go baseline, and that's exactly what Eric Hunter did. Let him go baseline.
Eric Wesley simply went right past Hunter. 26-12. This is Hunter inside. So Eric Hunter has picked up the scoring pace. He's got 3 buckets, and it's a 12-point Green Run lead. Steve Hamilton calls the play. He's picked up by Ronnie Blackman. Dish it off on the baseline. You've got to put some pressure on Eric Wesley. He's all alone, and they're letting him shoot those easy 6- and 7-footers. Kevin Swan for Williams. Williams wants to go inside. The traffic is heavy, and it's knocked away, and a foul is called against the Crabbers. This one's charged to Eric Hunter. That's his second, and he'll come out of the ball game, and Baruch Harris will come in. Eric Hunter helped the Hampton cause considerably with his 6 points.
He certainly has, and he's got them all right underneath that basket.
At the free throw line, O.J. Hymans. 29-14, a 15-point bulge for the Stallions of Green Run. They've come out fast and haven't stopped since they did. The Crabbers are letting them get too many easy buckets. 1 for 2 for Hymans. Ronnie Blackman gives to Cedric Williams. Doesn't go. Green Run gets the board.
You got to get those easy baskets. And that was a fairly easy basket, but just didn't drop. There's some awful mean screening going on in there, but a lot of it is moving screens. And nobody is calling, nobody is watching underneath the basket. That's Conrad Parker's job to watch what's happening on the basket, not the ball. And he's watching the ball.
Hymans, behind the back, it almost went, and a foul should be called against Eric Wesley, 42. That'll be his second. Hampton, of course, is not in a free throw situation. It's going to be a player control foul. Mark Wilson, number 34, comes in replacing Eric Wesley. Wesley has 2 fouls for Green Run. 29-14, 3.5 minutes to go in the first half. Crabbers have trailed throughout. Kevin Swan for 3. It's short. Battle for inside, and Wilson comes off with it for the Stallions. For 3 points, O.J. Hyman's shot, no go. And it's brought back out by Steve Hamilton. To Hymans, to Wilson. Wilson guarded by Baruch Harris, and he is fouled. That'll be the second on Harris. 2 shots coming for Green Run.
Green Run does a good job of getting the ball into the paint, a fake, go up, and draw the foul.
Green Run, without question, is the aggressor out here tonight. They have been much more aggressive. One for 2 at the free throw line for Mark Wilson. 30-14, inside of 3 minutes to go in the first half. Hampton trailing by 16. They trailed by 13 at the quarter break. Aaron Johnson, who has not been able to connect.
Excuse me, Tim. Hampton's doing a lot of standing around. One guy's moving the ball, everybody else kind of standing around. You got to get the offense moving.
Johnson tries again, it doesn't go.
Well, he's getting frustrated out there, and so he's open, he's going to take the shot. But they got to get their big man moving underneath that basket a little bit better to get some openings.
Steve Hamilton dishes it off to Kenny Johnson. 6 points for Kenny Johnson. And Hampton calls timeout.
Well, they better call timeout. They're down 18 points, and they're not doing anything right. I know Coach Brower is very upset because the big men for Hampton are standing around The guards are moving the ball, and they pass the ball and stand there. Pass the ball and stand there. You got to have some movement out there somewhere. Green Run is just doing what they want to at will.
Kevin Swan has been held to a single shot, or I should at least say successful shot. He's got 3 points on a three-pointer. Cedric Williams, 3 points. John Scott, 2 points. And 6 points for Eric Hunter. Hunter is out of the ballgame. But more importantly, as you said, Bob, very accurately, the Crabbers are standing around. They're also standing around on defense. They're watching the Green Run Stallions post almost every time down the floor. They'll go right to the baseline, and they'll leave a Hampton man standing there watching him.
It's like they're a half a step behind, Tim, like they're just not in sync with the ball game.
Now, we saw Hampton start out very slowly against Warwick last week, so if you're a Hampton Crabber faithful, of course, you can hope that the second half will bode better for the Crabbers. They still got 2 and some change left here in the first quarter.
They can't afford to get down by more than 18 points, and that's where they are right now.
Ball knocked out of bounds by Green Run.
They're telegraphing their passes, and they're not playing like we have seen Hampton play.
Johnson continues to try. This is getting even worse as he throws an air ball. This is Ronnie Blackman. It won't go. John Scott with the board, put it in. So John Scott asserts himself underneath the boards, and he gets the basket, cutting the lead down to 16 as the score has been doubled, 32-16. Green Run showing anything but the supposed looking ahead situation that was alluded to by us and others. Green Run looking for that Friday night confrontation, hopefully with Indian River and the more and more famous Alonzo Mourning. Ronnie Blackman gives to John Scott.
That's 4 quick points, and that's what they got to do, is to just be a little more aggressive attacking that basket, but get some movement on their offensive players.
Inside of 1 minute to go, Green Run leading 32-18. Crabbers pick up the Green Run players.
Well, they're playing a zone, Tim, and Green Run is just going to be content with making Hampton run from one side to the other. There's no rush to, well, in fact, they're probably playing for the last shot. There's only 30-some seconds to go.
Scott called for his 3rd personal foul.
Conrad Parker blew it. He got all ball, Tim.
Aaron Monday will come in for the Crabbers. John Scott with 3 personals will come out. Eric Hunter is coming in for Baruch Harris as well.
He assumed that guy was going to get fouled. That's exactly why he blew the whistle.
30 seconds remaining. Heidler with the first. Green Run 7 out of 9 from the free throw line. Make that 8 out of 10.
And Hampton hasn't been to the foul line. They're still not in the bonus.
Paul Blackman dishes it off to Eric Hunter. Eric Hunter with 8 points. And it's a 14-point Green Run lead. Knocked away and stolen by Kevin Swan. It's a foot race. Swan left-handed, up and good. And that's your halftime.
Hampton was so aggressive to go down to their basket. They put nobody back for the breakaway, because 2 Green Run players, Tim, didn't even go down on that fast break against Hampton. But you got to be happy. You did cut that 18 down to 14.
And the Crabbers find themselves trailing 36-22 at halftime. We'll be back with our first half statistics and the second half of play. But first, this brief timeout. Tim Cole with Bob Hintz back at Cox Field House in Virginia Beach. Halftime score, the Stallions of Green Run 36, the Hampton Crabbers 22. For the Crabbers in the first half, they were led by Eric Hunter with 8 points, 6 points for John Scott, 5 points for Kevin Swan, and 3 points for Cedric Williams. The Crabbers did not shoot a free throw. For the Green Run Stallions, they were paced by Eric Wesley with 10 points, 6 points each for Kenny Johnson and Scott Heidler, 3 points for Hymans and Mark Wilson as they went to the free throw line, and they converted 8 out of 10 from the free throw line. So that's a big difference right there when you're trailing by 14 and they have 8 free throws. So you're talking about a 3-basket difference in essence. And as badly as the Crabbers played, and I'm not trying to be on their case, but they just didn't work the ball well in the first half. And on defense, they got caught a couple of times with their feet cemented to the floor.
Well, they most certainly did, Tim, and it seemed like that they were about a half a step behind, and I'm not sure what the reason is, except that it just looked like they're just a little bit out of sync. We've seen them play much better. Hampton's got to get more movement off of their big men underneath the basket and get the ball in there and create some things happening, which will open up the outside shots also. Green Run at this point is playing and doing exactly what they want to do. They're having an excellent game because Hampton's standing around on offense. They're not have to play that bad at defense, but Hampton's made a lot of fouls on rebounds and reaching in. So we got one guy that's in foul trouble with 3, and that's John Scott. And I know Hampton wants to get back in this ball game. They're going to have John Scott, although Eric Hunter's done an excellent job coming off the bench. So they do have some bench that they can go to. And I don't think that Green Run substituted but one time with one guy during the whole first half.
Hampton,
excuse me, Tim. We got a full half to go, and this game's not over by a long shot. And it's 14-point difference is what we've got.
Crabbers start the original 5 with one exception. Cedric Williams is in for the cold shooting Aaron Johnson. So Green Run will have the ball to start the second half, leading by 14 points, 36-22. Pair of 20s battling. This is O.J. Hymans, give it to Heidler. Heidler's shot doesn't go. Position underneath for Wesley. He's spinning all over the place, and he puts it in. Eric Wesley with 12 points.
They got to get somebody in that guy's face. He's moving around and getting a shot off, and nobody's looking at him.
Williams can't get it to go. And Green Run clears the board. Steve Hamilton, who had 6 points in the first half, is picked up at the timeline by Swan. This is Williams guarding O.J. Hymans. Wesley dribbles into the lane, has it knocked away, and Green Run controls.
Well, that was a 3-second call with Hyman laying in the lane, but the official didn't call it. But that is 3 seconds. You got to get out of there.
Easy shot missed inside. Baruch Harris gets the board for the Crabbers. Trailing by 16. Ronnie Blackman drives the baseline, throws it up. It's a good pass as Scott gets the ball and puts it up. He's fouled. And if that's on Wesley, and I believe it is, that'll be his 3rd. It is Wesley, and he is called for his 3rd personal foul. So that could play into the hands of the Hampton Crabbers, because now the Green Run team has their leading scorer in the first half in foul trouble. John Scott at the free throw line with 2 shots. And that is the first free throw for the Crabbers.
Yes, but you know that, I don't know if they caught it, but number 42, Wesley, was John Scott, number 42, on that. He thought he got a clean block, and he was kind of jawing at him. Hey, don't get somebody mad.
So Scott gets 1 of 2. And the Crabbers trail by 15. Steve Hamilton picked up by Kevin Swan. Kenny Johnson. Eric Wesley guarded closely by Cedric Williams. Dish it off for Heidler.
They're playing a zone, and the guy in the back part of that zone's got to be aware of somebody flashing across the center. You can't let somebody flash across like that, get that ball within 2 or 3 feet of that basket.
Heidler with 8 points. Cedric Williams open and hits it. So Williams, who has a 3-pointer and a 2-pointer, 5 points now, and it's a 15-point Green Run lead. Williams finally knocks the ball loose. It's a scramble, a 1-on-2. Swan put it up. He's not fouled, and it comes off. No Crabber there for the rebound.
That was not a wise decision. He was outmanned 3-1.
And going in the tall timber, too. And Swan hoping to make something work. Couldn't get the ball to go down, and Green Run wisely rebounded and brought it back down. This is Heidler at the top of the key. He's double teamed, stolen. Swan, good pass for Williams. Williams will put it up. And a foul on Scott Heidler. Heidler, no way was he going to let a uncontested shot go.
Well, he probably could have blocked it, but he was going to make sure everybody knew, and he come down. Of course, he fouled him.
At the free throw line, Cedric Williams. He's got 5 points. Grabbers bring Aaron Johnson back in the ball game for Ronnie Blackman. And Eric Hunter checks in for John Scott. So Walter Brower is substituting liberally here in the second half. And of course his efforts are to hopefully wear down this Green Run team, but so far they haven't shown any signs of any fatigue at all. Although I would say that Steve Hamilton at the top of the key right now is breathing pretty hard. 5:17 to go in the third, 40-27.
That was a push-off. Number 12, he caught it that time. That's the second time he did it. And you don't do it right in front of the official, but that's exactly what he did. Is he's pushing off the defender, and you can't do that.
So Hamilton is called for his first personal foul. The Crabbers have a chance to cut that lead down to 11 or even 10 should they get a 3-pointer. Kevin Swan, who will shoot the 3-pointer. Inside for Baruch Harris. Harris wisely kicks it out for Johnson. To Williams, to Baruch Harris. Harris will put up the 8-footer, doesn't go. And Eric Wesley cleans the boards for Green Run. Swan says, come on, I'll take you on, Hamilton. Put your elbow back out. Play number 5 called by Hamilton. O.J. Hymans dishes it off to Wesley. Wesley will drive, dish it off to Heidler. Scott Heidler has 10 points. Cedric Williams puts it up. Nothing happening. Grabbers hustling all over the floor. They just can't get the good stuff to work right now. Ball kicked by Johnson. No stoppage of play. Play number 5 again. This should get the ball on the right baseline. Inside all alone, put it up and in.
They run that offense good. It's just a high-low. They pop the ball to the man at the foul line. He hits the man underneath the basket.
Eric Hunter, undecisive about where he was going with the ball, dragged the pivot foot. John Scott comes back in the ball game, giving Baruch Harris a breather. 44-27, 3:48 remains in the third quarter. It's been all Green Run. Knocked out of bounds. The officials say, I can't tell. Can you tell? Who's it going to belong to? They're going to give it to the Crabbers. So what they've done is, because they were undecided, they went with the possession arrow.
That's like a jump ball. Hampton will get the ball, but the next possession will be for Green Run. That was an excellent call.
I think it was. I agree with you. Scott Heidler.
That was an ill-advised shot.
Foul on Swan. That will be his first. And that was a good foul. Eric Wesley was all alone and was going to go for the easy layup. Aaron Johnson will check out of the ball game. Paul Blackman will come in for the Crabbers. 44-27. Wesley has 13 points, Eric Wesley. He's also playing with 3 personal fouls. No good on the second. One of the few misses for Green Run tonight. They were 8 for 10 at halftime from the free throw line. 45-27. The Crabbers down by 18. Dish it off. Spin around. No. Crashing the board is Hunter. He'll put it up and for the basket count.
Well, that was a good job underneath that board.
Yes, the basket counts. That's a big play. Hyman's called for the foul. Eric Hunter has 10 points, and he'll have a chance for the 3-point play. Ronnie Blackman comes in for Cedric Williams for the Crabbers. So Walter Brower has absolutely shuffled players perpetually from the very beginning of this game. And his efforts, of course, are to hopefully wear down the Green Run team. Hunter cannot complete the 3-point play, and it's a 16-point lead for Green Run. Unlike the first half, where Hampton never was in a bonus situation, they will be for the remainder of this game. Inside, we've got a whistle. Scott Heidler called for his second personal foul.
And this is a turnaround from the first half, where Hampton was never in the bonus and never shot any foul shots, and now they are the one that's in the 1-and-1.
The Crabbers have to take advantage of this opportunity. When you trail by 16, you've got to convert those 1-and-1s. It doesn't go, and you don't get the bonus. Saved, but retrieved by Blackman. Yes. Ronnie Blackman with the basket, and it couldn't have come at a better time for the Crabbers. They've cut that lead now to 14. Some of the Crabber faithful behind us starting to get involved in the ball game. This is Steve Hamilton guarded by Kevin Swan. Eric Wesley holds it over his head, and it's stolen by John Scott, but it's retrieved by Green Run. From 3-point range, doesn't go. John Scott with the rebound, out quickly. Kevin Swan will take it to the hoop, put it up, no good. And just
twice he's come down, Tim.
Poor play because there's no one there for the Crabbers.
There's 3-on-1. Kevin needs to pull it back out, get a good shot. You got a rebound, you need to cut the ball, cut the lead.
Conversely, he pushed off something horribly, and the Crabbers rebound. You see the elbow that the Green Run player threw before he put the shot up. Ronnie Blackman won't go. Kevin Swan puts it in. The Crabbers have cut that lead to 12.
They would like nothing better than to cut it to a single digit before the end of this third quarter.
Play number 1 called by Steve Hamilton. Goes to Kenny Johnson. Johnson goes in, won't go. And Heidler follows, doesn't go. Johnson is fouled and doesn't go, but he'll get 2 shots. And Eric Hunter says to the official, "What do you mean? I didn't do it." And the foul is on Eric Hunter. That's his third. The Crabbers have to contain themselves. They have to keep their cool, so to speak.
And they really do, Tim.
Hunter vehemently disagreeing with the referee, but it's for naught. You never win those battles, so you just have to keep your head. At the free throw line, Eric Wesley. He'll get 2 shots, and he'll get another. Wesley's completed 2 of 3 from the free throw line.
Well, I thought number 32 is the one that got fouled, Kenny Johnson, but I evidently was wrong.
1 of 2 at the free throw line for Wesley, and it's a 13-point lead for Green Run. Paul Blackman in the game, 3-point shot, no, halfway down and out. Kevin Swan just had no luck at all. Had that ball gone in, we'd have a 10-point game. Actually, it went in if it stayed in. And we've got a foul against the Crabbers. Blackman called for the block. That's his second.
We need to give these air times, Tim. I'm so off on this game. The girls' game that was played earlier tonight will be played both Thursday and Friday at 5 p.m. And this game will be played Friday and Monday at 9 p.m.
Eric Wesley with great patience. And it's back up to a 15-point Green Run lead. Knocked away, bad pass. Wesley, easy layup.
That was just a bad pass.
18 points for Wesley.
Hampton can't pass the ball as bad as they're passing and get back in this ball game, Tim. They made a small run, got that cut down a little bit to about 12. Now it's back up to 17.
Blackman for Kevin Swan. He'll drive the baseline. It goes off the side of the backboard. Down come the Stallions, and they have lived up to their name so far. Foul is on Kevin Swan. That'll be his second. And the Crabbers are not over the limit yet, so it'll be a player control foul with 16 seconds to go. Kevin Swan will check out for one of the few times you'll see him sit on the bench. Walter Brower figuring with 16 seconds left in the quarter coming to an end, it might give both John Scott and Kevin Swan a little breather here, as more than likely Green Run will hold for the last shot in any event. So the Crabbers with a smaller team out there. Aaron Monday is on the floor as well. Heidler puts it up, it doesn't go, the tip no good. Aaron Monday out, 1 second to go, and the Crabbers cannot get the shot off before the buzzer sounds. So after 3 quarters of play, the score, Green Run 50, the Crabbers 33, a 17-point lead. Green Run, Hampton got back in a little closer, they got down to 10, 11, 12 points. But now Green Run is back out to 17-point lead.
Well, Tim, they're not being real smart in their shot selection. Now, Kevin Swan has done excellent all year long, and I'm not criticizing Kevin, but twice he's come down, and there was a 3-on-1. He was the one with the ball and going against 3 defensive players. You got to be smart enough to pull that thing back up, get your people down there so that you at least have a shot at the rebound, and he never did either one of those 2 times. And Hampton has made a couple sloppy passes, which has cost them. They allowed an inbounds ball to be passed right to a guy underneath the basket, so they're not playing as a cohesive unit out there tonight.
The winner of this game, of course, looking towards a possible confrontation with, there you see some of the Stallion faithful, 21-0 Green Run. Possible confrontation with Alonzo Mourning and Indian River this coming Friday night. The winner of this game will more than likely face Indian River. Of course, those of you who don't know about Alonzo Mourning don't follow basketball. He is one of the premier high school players in the nation. And right now, Green Run is continuing on their way to that confrontation.
Well, if they keep passing the ball like they are, and Hampton, okay, now they're going to have to get on your people quick to play full court. They got a trap going on, but there it is.
And we got a foul on Ronnie Blackman.
And now they are in the bonus, Tim. Now, well, we got a minute here a second here while he's shooting a foul shot. We do want to send our best wishes out to Steve Washington, one of the assistant football coaches for the Hampton High Crabbers. Underwent surgery today, and I hear he is doing fine. We don't know the results of the surgery, but Steve, our best wishes go to you for speedy recovery.
I certainly want to echo that. Steve Washington, a gentleman I've known for several years. In fact, he worked with me for a brief while at the Daily Press. Johnson will get the bonus, and he does convert. So Green Run has been quite successful at the free throw line, and they're doing just about everything right tonight. They've played an extremely good basketball game. Crabbers, Swan kicks it out to Blackman, to Cedric Williams, pulls up, fakes his man out, puts it up, won't go, and Heidler clears the boards for Green Run. It's been that kind of night for the Crabbers.
They can't buy a basket. And Green Run could end up with their largest lead at this juncture.
Kevin Swan with the board. It's a 19-point lead for Green Run. Swan over for Paul Blackman. Blackman, nice move. He got it to go, and he's fouled. So Paul Blackman gets his first basket of the night. Foul is charged to Mark Wilson. That's his first. At the free throw line will be Paul Blackman. Mark Wilson checks out of the ball game for Green Run. Paul Blackman now with a chance for the three-point play. Time running out for the Crabbers. Eric Hunter in the ball game for the Crabbers. Pass is taken by John Scott. Hunter dishes off to Scott. Scott puts it in.
That was an excellent pass by Eric Hunter. He could have just as soon taken that shot. A lot of people thought he would, and he just dumped the ball off to
Steve Hamilton being harassed, to say the least, by Kevin Swan in the backcourt. And temper's getting a little short here. Steve Hamilton accidentally ran into one of the Hampton players and exchanged a word or two.
There's no love being lost between these two teams.
Well, I think Hampton right now is suffering severe frustration.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
54-39 with 6:16 left in the ball game. You're Walter Brower now, Bob. What do you tell your team to do during the next 6:16? That's why you got out of coaching.
That's
right?
exactly what I got at. Boy, that's a tough situation. You just hope that you can get inside their heads and tell them to, they don't look cohesive at all. Even out in front when they're passing the ball back and forth, they don't look that good and smooth. You just got to get. You got to get the points, Tim. You got to put defensive pressure on them and not let them bring that ball down the court, run their offense, and get that inside shot like they have been tonight.
What a super job by Kevin Swan to steal the ball. He's got hands like you would not believe. He can't get the shot to go, but the follow shot by Eric Hunter is good. Kevin Swan just literally picked Steve Hamilton's pocket. Swan with great quickness. It's a 13-point lead. If the Crabbers are going to make a run at it, now is the time they must.
Well, they cut it. It was 19.
Hamilton guarded by Swan. This is O.J. Hyman's as he drives the lane for the easy layup. It wasn't any good, as it looked like it was going to go. It didn't go, but a foul inside.
Looked like it was on 12, Tim. I believe that's who he called for Hampton as the foul.
It was Aaron Johnson. At the free throw line will be O.J. Hyman. He's 1 for 2 at the free throw line.
Well, this is where Hampton hopes that they're not successful from the foul line, but they have been very successful tonight. They've hit a very high percentage. And they made another one, so that's what hurt you when they're being successful from that foul line.
They're 14 of 18 from the free throw line. Kevin Swan will fire, and his tip doesn't go. Finally, what's the foul? It's on Heidler. Scott Heidler called for his third personal foul, and both teams are over the limit. Free throws are extremely important. I don't even need to say that. If the Crabbers have a chance, they must convert the free throws. Scott gets the first. He's made 2 of 3 from the free throw line.
You got a little imaginary block there. You got to get it down to a single digit.
And Scott is able to connect on only one of two. 14-point lead for Green Run. O.J. Hyman's dishes in the corner for Eric Wesley. Inside for Steve Hamilton. Baseline for Wesley. Wesley's shot doesn't go. Hunter had it momentarily. Wesley gets it back, puts it up, no good. And finally Kevin Swan with the board. Crabbers with a chance to cut the lead to 12 with a bucket here. This is Ronnie Blackman. It's short. Heidler had it momentarily. Hunter lost it. And bodies are going all over the floor. And we've got finally the ball controlled by Green Run.
That's excellent hustle by both teams, Tim. They're not afraid to go down the floor to get that ball.
Let me tell you, give Green Run credit. They have taken this game to the Crabbers.
He gets a play. Plug him in. Plug in. Plug it in.
All right, we're at 4:28.
The guy unplugged us there, Tim. We were off there for a second.
56-42. Timeout is called. Crabbers call the timeout. 14-point lead now for Green Run. You're looking into the Green Run huddle as the coach, Bill Cochran, is graphically indicating to Bill Downey, or check that Conrad Parker, what is going on out there. He's indicating that one of the Crabbers is using the body to push back his player.
Well, that's called working officials. As this is crunch time, you got 4.5 to go, and Hampton's down by 14 points, but Green Run, that's still not big enough lead for them to feel confident at this point. They're going to have to continue on, and he's going to try to pull every string that he can. And of course, Conrad Parker is an official from his side, so he knows Conrad. He doesn't know Jim Downey. So he's going to talk to the guy he knows out there.
.428 left in somebody's season. Right now it looks very favorable for Green Run. But as I said, and it ain't over till the fat lady sings.
Oh, the fat lady's got to sing.
Eric Hunter has led the Crabbers with 12 points tonight. Baruch Harris spins, puts it up, doesn't go. Ronnie Blackman follows, yes.
That was a good job of catching that ball and shooting it all in one motion.
Blackman cuts that 12-point lead, or rather down to 12 points. Play number 1 called by Steve Hamilton. He's guarded by Kevin Swan. This is Kenny Johnson. Hyman, Hamilton. Hamilton looking inside. Green Run being deliberate now as they want to wear some time off that clock. Heidler guarded by John Scott. Underneath, O.J. Hyman's, yes.
Hyman did a good job that time, but he also did a job of hooking. He hooked his hand around the defender to get a step on him, and neither one of the officials caught that, and then Hampton turned around and threw the ball away on out of bounds, and boy, that hurts.
58-44. Crabbers trail by 14. Steve Hamilton guarded this time by Ronnie Blackman. O.J. Hyman's is fouled. Reaching in was Cedric Williams. That was his first. And it'll be 1-1 for the Stallions of Green Run. Eric Wesley has scored 18 points this evening for Green Run to lead them. At the free throw line is O.J. Hyman's. And now the Crabbers will call a timeout.
Well, you got 14 points deficit, 7 baskets if you hit 2-point baskets. But you got, they're on a line with a 1-1, Tim, so it could be a 16-point lead. And Hampton has definitely got to get some turnovers and convert those turnovers, maybe hit some 3-point plays to get back in this ball game, because time is definitely running out, like you said. 3:22, and that's all for one of these teams.
Crabbers last year, of course, were the district champions. They went on to lose in the...
They lost to Green Run last year.
No, actually, it was Indian River, I believe.
I mean, sorry, Indian River, not Green Run. Indian River.
They Alonzo morning.
Yeah.
They'd like to have that opportunity again. Of course, they wouldn't want to lose again, but they'd sure like to make it to that particular plateau. Right now, they have to overcome a 14-point lead with less than 3.5 minutes to go. Both teams are over the limit. Hyman's at the free throw line. He's got 7 points. He's converted 3 out of 4 from the free throw line. And he misses on this try. Crabbers' Kevin Swan knows they have to score, and they have to score quickly. 3-point try by Blackman doesn't go. And the Crabbers knock it loose, but it's retrieved by Steve Hamilton.
Kevin Swan playing defense. Nobody else was looking. He knocked the ball away. Hampton should have come up with a loose ball, and they weren't even paying attention to the ball.
Steve Hamilton dishes it off. Green Run now wearing that clock down. 2:37. They lead by 14, 58-44. Kevin Swan all over Steve Hamilton.
At this point, Green Run doesn't even need to take a shot. All they want to do is run some time off that clock, Tim, and it looks like that's what they're doing.
And now a traveling call against Green Run.
And that doesn't make the coach Cochran very happy because they were doing what he wanted them to do.
Kenneth Robinson, number 34, an extremely infrequent player for the Crabbers, comes in. Don't think I've ever seen him play before for the Crabbers.
This is the first time he's played since we've watched it this year.
Three-pointer. Cedric Williams with his second three-point basket of the night. And just like that, the Crabbers are within 11. And now a foul, and I think perhaps Robinson is our designated fouler.
That could be it, Tim.
The Crabbers must stop the clock. Williams got the three-point play. We're inside of a 11-point game right now. I don't think Hamilton is the one they want to go to the free throw line, though. I'm not sure what his season record is, but he looks pretty good at the free throw line, and he is 2 for 2 tonight. Green Run, let's give them credit. They've come out and played an extremely good ball game.
A very intelligent ball game.
They've basically done it all. They've rebounded well. They've gotten the ball in close for good shots. And they've had good free throw shooting, which you just have to have. Robinson looking for an open Crabber. It's picked off. And the shot won't go, but the foul will be called against Cedric Williams. That's his second, and it's a 2-shot foul.
You can't turn the ball over at this juncture of the game, and that's exactly what Hampton did that time. And of course, put the Stallions on the foul line.
Do we have a name of somebody here that we can thank for all of the assistance for our crew?
Yes, Bruce Stewart, who is the athletic director here at Cox High School, has just been tremendous in helping our crew set up at the here at the ball game, because you never know when you come to another school, they're not set up to. They don't have the facilities for us, and they really went all out and didn't pull all the bleachers all the way out so that we could set up here on this one side. So we'd like to thank Bruce Stewart.
0 for 2 at the free throw line for Hyman's on that last trip down. Ronnie Blackman back in the ball game. 8 points for Blackman, and it's back to an 11-point Hampton deficit. Swan knocks it away. Robinson loses it out of bounds.
Kevin Swan did a good job of knocking that ball loose, but they just didn't end up with the loose ball.
Now it's Aaron Johnson's turn to hound Steve Hamilton, and he'll be called for the foul. Aaron Johnson, his third. Minute and a half to go. 60-49. Hampton trailing by 11. At the free throw line, Steve Hamilton. He's perfect at the free throw line, 4 for 4. And he continues to be hot from the free throw line. And now timeout is called. Crabbers trying to do everything they can to get back in this ball game, but they just to this point haven't been able to get a burst going long enough. Green Run, as I said, give them credit. They've played a real good ball game. Whenever they've been threatened by the Crabbers, they've put a burst on and thwarted that particular comeback.
Well, and then Hampton has had some ill-advised turnovers, if you want to call them ill-advised, but they're just turnovers at the wrong time where they could end up down here going for a couple of points and turning the ball over, and then they foul, and Green Run gets on the foul line. So I know Coach Bauer is not at all happy with the way the Crabbers are playing, because they played much better ball this year than what they're showing here tonight.
Hampton trailed by 13 after the first quarter, 20-7. At halftime, they were down by 14, 36-22. They trailed by 17 at the third quarter break, and they've eaten into that lead. It is an 11-point lead now, but that's about as close as they've been able to get. One shot coming for Steve Hamilton. And Hamilton continues to have his free throw mastery. Johnson will pump up a three-pointer. It's an air ball. And that's been pretty much the story of Aaron Johnson tonight. He just hasn't been able to get his shot to go. And a foul in the backcourt. It should be a two-shot foul.
I think that he said I don't know how he's doing it. He didn't put his arms over his head with the crossed wrist, so evidently it's a 1-and-1. But the man you're fouling is 6 for 6 from the foul line, isn't he, Tim?
Actually, Kenny Johnson is 2 for 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was 20 that got fouled.
And he's 2 for 3 now as Johnson misses. Three-point try. Doesn't go. Tipped around. Blackman puts it up. No good. Kevin Swan says, I've got to get it out here in three-point range. Dishes it back inside for Ronnie Blackman. So Ronnie Blackman with 10 points. 1 minute remaining. It's an 11-point lead for Green Run. Heidler alone underneath, and he wisely holds it up, and now we've got a whistle and a traveling call. So Kenny Robinson back in the ball game for the Crabbers. Swan will fire from 3. He got it. Heidler spots an open Green Run player. And we've got a foul. 41 seconds to go. It's down to an 8-point lead. That's as close as the Crabbers have been.
Well, you're right, Tim. They haven't been that close since the first quarter.
Now Green Run will call a timeout. So now, Coach, what happens? You're down by 8. They're at the free throw line, and I believe it's going to be a 1-and-1. My vision was blocked at the time the foul was called.
Yeah, I couldn't see it either, Tim.
But I think it's a 1-and-1. If they miss the 1-and-1, you've got the ball.
You come down, you hit a three-pointer, you're within 5. You call timeout, stop the clock. Foul when the ball comes in, hope the guy misses the foul shot, come down, shoot another one. Three-pointer, you're within 2 points of the game, Tim. So it's not over, not with that three-point shot. It really changes the whole outlook.
That's a dimension that you really have to consider, because it really is a 3-shot or 3-basket difference, assuming that you convert your three-pointers and the other team doesn't. But it does add a dimension to the fact that you can quickly get back in the ball game, as evidenced by that three-pointer that last time. Kevin Swan on the game has a total of 10 points. He's got 2 three-pointers. But the real story, and I'm not picking on him, please don't misunderstand me, Aaron Johnson has yet to score, and he's probably 0 for 10. He just hasn't been able to hit.
He's had a horrendous night shooting, and we've seen him shoot better than that. But boy, tonight he's just not been able to do it.
He had 10 points against Warwick. But you have nights like that. Green Run misses the free throw. The Crabbers have got a shot at it. Robinson from 3. This will be Cedric Williams. Check that. Yeah, Williams, and it goes out of bounds. Belongs to the Crabbers. 33 seconds. They have time. They don't need to take bad shots. Inbounds. And John Scott, they say, was on the sideline right in front of our position. So a tough play for the Crabbers. They had a chance there, and they just couldn't get it inbounds. And a foul in the backcourt on Ronnie Blackman. That's his second. And it will be 1-1. 30 seconds. See, the time isn't going that quickly off the board. Had Hampton been able to convert on that, at least get 2 and maybe 3, they'd be within 5 and they'd have a shot at it.
That's exactly what I was talking about, but they threw the ball to Scott, who was standing on the out-of-bounds line.
Eric Wesley at the free throw line has hit 3 out of 5 tonight, and he's got 19 points. Make that 4 out of 6. 20 points for Wesley, and it's a 10-point Hampton deficit. Off the glass, too strong by Robinson. 22 seconds, Hamilton. Oh, super effort by Aaron, or check that, Cedric Williams.
Okay, he was out of bounds, jumped up in the air, but he hadn't got back in bounds. That's why it was called out.
The Crabbers trying to get the ball, or at least foul, to stop the ball. "14 seconds, a 10-point Green Run lead. They have led from the beginning. Crabbers fell behind early and just never really got back in the game. They've played them even since the first quarter.
You just can't let them build that kind of a lead, Tim. It's really hard to get back into the ball game.
So Hymans converts both free throws. Robinson will shoot for 3. Off the glass and no good. 8 seconds. An obvious backcourt foul. Crabbers just knowing that they have to foul. And they really don't have a prayer now. 66-54 with just 6 ticks of the clock left. And Green Run will advance to a Friday night confrontation with, more than likely, I guess Indian River, did they play?
They won last night,
they did
Tim.
win. Green Run has hit on 22 free throws.
That's a hard statistic to overcome.
Out of 30. And that is your ball game. The Hampton Crabbers come up short. Green Run undefeated on the season, 21-0. Make it 22-0. And the Crabbers fall to 21-4. Your comments about the game, Bob?
Well, I know that the Hampton Crabbers are very disappointed in the outcome of this ball game, but you got to take your hat off to Green Run. They came out here, they played the game they wanted to play, and they played offensively and defensively and did what they wanted to do, and Hampton just looked like they were out of it at the beginning and allowed Green Run to get that large lead. It looked like the Hampton Crabbers were kind of standing around that first quarter, that first half, Tim. And that, of course, is a hard thing to overcome when you get to this level of competition. When you get in the regionals, everybody you're playing is a good team. I know that Coach Brower is very proud of his young men. They did an excellent job this year. You win 20 more games in a season. That's an excellent season in high school. There's no doubt about that. This is over for some of these ball players. John Scott, that's his last ball game, the seniors, and I know that The only way that you end up a winner, Tim, is you got to go all the way to the state and win the state. So there's going to be a lot of disappointment going away along the way. But they've had an excellent season. Coach Brower and his staff has just done an excellent job.
No question about that. The big difference in the ball game at the free throw line. The Hampton Crabbers completed just 4 out of 7 from the free throw line, and Green Run hit 22 out of 31. So you've got an 18-point difference right there. It more than makes up for the difference in the ball game.
Yes, it sure did. And if we remember, Hampton allowed Green Run to get into that 1-on-1 situation real early in the first quarter, and Hampton never shot a foul shot at all the first half. And that makes a big difference when you allow a team to get the shots that are uncontested at the foul line. And they are an excellent foul shooting team. But they got their hands cut out for them Friday night when they have to go up against Alonzo Mourning in the Indian River team.
So Green Run advances to that Friday night meeting with Indian River. They were paced with 20 points by Eric Wesley and 10 points for Scott Heidler, 13 points for Kenny Johnson, 10 points for Steve Hamilton, 9 points for Hyman. So their team played their game. Yes, they have 5 starters that average in double figures, and they basically run across the board with one exception. Had just that. They had actually, they in fact have 5 players with double figures. The Crabbers paced by Eric Hunter, who had to fill in because John Scott got in foul trouble early, and that kind of hurt. That set the tone for the Crabbers. Aaron Johnson's cold shooting in the first quarter and the foul trouble that John Scott got into early. He got picked up a second foul early in the first quarter, and then after that it just seemed to build as the Crabbers found themselves digging a deeper hole all the time.
They just couldn't get on track, Tim. I just don't feel that the team was in sync with each other. It just looked like that the guards were trying to do things, and the big men under the basket were standing around. And then when they would start moving, they made some bad passes, and they made some mistakes out there that really cost them when they had a chance to cut the lead down a little bit. You can't turn the ball over as much as Hampton did tonight, and they turned it over more on. I don't think the defense did as much to hurt them as they hurt themselves tonight. I really don't.
There was a lot of times when the Crabbers had poor, I guess you might say, lapses in their defensive strategy. They allowed too many easy baskets underneath for Green Run, and they just weren't able to get the shots to go. They were shooting from outside initially, and rather than work the ball, the offense just didn't go.
That's
that's the way it goes. You do your best, and the Crabbers certainly, as I said, proud of a 21-4 season. You can't be anything less than that.
No, that was an excellent season.
And they had an 8-game win streak ended this evening here at Cox High School, and Green Run goes on to face Alonzo Mourning and Indian River Friday night.
Right. Well, Tim, before we cut off here, I want to thank our crew, Scotty Bowers and Sam Still and Angela and Jerome and Beverly and all the people that have helped us set up. Bruce Stewart, the AD over here, helped set it up. But we've been very fortunate. We can come in and sit down and do this thing and not have to worry about the technicalities of setting up and the logistics and all that. All we have to do is get in a car and meet somewhere and get over here. So
let's do that. Let's go home. Final score: Green Run 67, Hampton 54. For Bob Hintz and our usual roving reporter A.G. Womble, who's not with us tonight because of a school board meeting, we'll certainly give him a mention as he's done a fine job for us all season long. This is Tim Cole. Thanks for watching. Again, the Hampton Crabbers lose 67-54, and we thank you again for watching. Good evening, everybody.